standing in that glass conference room, watching Blake Morrison slide a severance envelope across the table, like he was handing out a participation trophy. I had exactly 8 minutes to teach this kid the most expensive lesson of his privileged corporate career. "Congratulations, Zach," he said with that smug MBA grin. "Your position has been eliminated, effective immediately." I looked at the envelope, then at Blake, then at the 20-something faces around the table. Some couldn't even meet my eyes. Others were watching like they'd scored front-row seats to a public execution. Sam's diabetes medication was due for refill next Friday. The special treatment that keeps her stable costs us $8,000 a month. Alex's military academy application was sitting on some admissions officer's desk, waiting for our financial aid forms. Mia's advanced STEM program tuition was due in 3 weeks. Funny how the mind works under pressure. 20 years in the Army Signal Corps teaches you that when mortars start falling, your brain doesn't panic. It calculates mission parameters, available resources, exit strategies, restructuring. Blake added, straightening his Italian silk tie. "You know how it is in today's market." Yeah, I knew exactly how it was. I'm Zachary Reynolds, by the way. Zach to everyone who matters. 55 years old. Spent 8 years in Army Signal Corps building communication networks under enemy fire in Iraq and Afghanistan. Then 20 years building something a lot more valuable for Hartwell Dynamics. But let me back up, because this story starts way before this conference room. When I joined Hartwell 20 years ago, we were a small defense contractor struggling to compete with the big players. Blake's father had vision and government connections, but no technical expertise. Just PowerPoint presentations full of military buzzwords and a business plan that looked impressive but couldn't secure a single classified contract. That's where I came in, fresh out of the service, looking to use my communications engineering background in the civilian world. The Army had taught me how to build systems that work under pressure. Real pressure, not the fake pressure of missed quarterly targets. When you're establishing secure communications while taking incoming fire, you learn to build things right the first time. SecureLink was my creation from day one. I designed the encrypted communication protocols, wrote the core defense systems, debugged every problem that would have killed any other contractor. For years, Blake praised me in investor meetings. "Zach's the backbone of this operation," he'd say. "Former military knows how to get things done." Couldn't run this company without him. Investors love that story, the disciplined veteran building cutting-edge defense technology. It played well in presentations, but about 6 months ago, something shifted. Blake started getting cold in meetings. My access to financial reports quietly disappeared. Conversations stopped whenever I walked into a room. The classic "we don't need the expensive guy anymore" playbook. I'd seen it before at other defense contractors where some of my Army buddies ended up working. The writing was on the wall when I saw the paperwork last week. A draft contract for Colin Hayes, 24 years old, fresh out of college. His proposed salary was $72,000. Mine was $145,000. The job description was an exact copy of my responsibilities, just with a few buzzwords changed. That's when I realized Blake wasn't just replacing me. He was trying to erase me. My name was getting scrubbed from patents, press releases, internal documentation. 20 years of building this company from a small contractor to a $200 million defense operation, and they wanted to pretend I'd never existed. But here's what Blake didn't understand about military training. You always prepare for the worst-case scenario, always have contingencies, always have an exit strategy. See, SecureLink wasn't just defense communication software. It was a living, breathing network that I'd architected to be both resilient and highly sensitive to unauthorized control. 6 months ago, when I started seeing the signs, I embedded something not malicious. That's not how we operated in the service, but protective, a fail-safe protocol. If certain credentials got revoked, mine specifically, the system would assume hostile takeover and initiate automatic lockdown. Not destruction, not data loss, just offline, everything. Servers, APIs, client interfaces, government contract portals, the whole infrastructure. Dead as a doornail until proper authorization could be re-established. I stood up slow, unclipped my security badge, and set it down gentle on that polished glass table. Around me, I could hear the subtle shift in breathing patterns, tension rising. "Target acquired, Blake," I said, letting the silence hang for a beat. "I suggest you pull up the SecureLink monitoring dashboard. You're going to want to see the countdown that just started." The room went dead, quiet. "Excuse me?" Blake blinked, I smiled. Not the friendly kind. The kind you give when you know exactly how the next 8 minutes are going to play out. Check your system status. Mission clock is running. Someone opened their laptop. Someone else bolted for the door. Rachel Foster, our operations director and former Air Force logistics officer, went wide-eyed. She knew that look. She'd seen it before in theater when things were about to get interesting. That's when the panic started. Blake's fake confidence melted like ice in the desert. He jumped up so fast his chair rolled backward. "What did you do?" I didn't answer. Just straightened my jacket. Picked up the little cardboard box they'd so thoughtfully provided for my personal effects, and headed for the door. Inside the box were a few family photos, my Army coffee mug, and a small American flag Alex had given me for Father's Day when he was 10. As I reached the doorway, I glanced back. Jordan Beck, our CTO, was typing like his life depended on it. 2 engineers were sprinting toward the server room. Blake was jabbing at his phone, probably calling someone who might know how to fix this mess. 7 minutes now, I said quietly, then stepped into the hallway. The elevator arrived just as my phone started buzzing. 7 missed calls already, all from numbers I didn't recognize. I stepped in, hit the parking garage button, and watched the countdown on my phone. 4:32 remaining, right on schedule. SecureLink went dark. Not just the internal systems, not just the test servers. The entire production network collapsed. Government contracts offline, classified communications dead, international defense partnerships severed. Hartwell Dynamics, the supposed leader in military communication technology, just became a $200 million paperweight. I could picture Blake staring at his screen as error messages multiplied like wildfire. Engineers scrambling to reboot servers, only to realize nothing was coming back online. The Pentagon liaison probably already on the phone, asking very pointed questions about system reliability and contractor competence. My phone vibrated again. This time it was a number I recognized. Rachel, probably the only person in that building who understood what just happened and why. I let it ring. Not yet. Let them understand the scope of their problem first. Let them realize that the guy they thought was just another employee actually held the keys to everything they'd built or thought they'd built. Because the truth was they hadn't built anything. I had. And now they were about to learn the difference between owning a company and running one. I drove home the long way, no rush. Even stopped at the Starbucks on Maple Street, the one where Sam gets her morning coffee before her shift at the medical clinic. The barista, Jennifer, asked how my day went. Interesting, I told her. Might be changing careers soon. She laughed, thinking I was joking. If only she knew the chaos unfolding 5 miles away was my doing. Well, technically it was their doing. I just built the consequences into the system. The house was quiet when I walked in. Sam was at her book club Thursday nights, with the other military wives discussing whatever novel they'd picked this month. Alex was upstairs studying for his SATs and working on his academy application essay. Mia had robotics club until 6. Normal family life, the kind I'd been working 20 years to protect. By the time I set my keys down, my phone was going crazy. 15 missed calls from Blake. 8 from Rachel, 4 from Jordan. Text messages flooding in from numbers I didn't recognize. System down, client screaming, "Need you back now." Pentagon asking questions. "This is bad. Whatever you did, undo it, name your price." I powered down the phone, ordered Chinese food from that place Alex likes, and turned on the History Channel. Some documentary about D-Day communications. Appropriate. Around 5:30, Alex came downstairs. Kids built like his old man, but got his mother's brains. Plans to study systems engineering at the academy, assuming we can swing the additional costs. At 18, he's already showing the kind of leadership potential that makes a father proud. "Dad, you're home early," he said, grabbing a Coke from the fridge. "Yeah, had some interesting developments at work today." He gave me that look kids give when they're trying to figure out if their parents are having a midlife crisis. "Everything okay? You seem, I don't know, different, smart kid." "Everything's fine, son. Actually might be better than fine soon. How's the academy application coming?" "Good. Got the essay done. Wrote about leadership and doing what's right even when it's hard." I smiled. "That's my boy. Where'd you learn about that?" "From you, Dad. That story you told me about maintaining communications in Fallujah while taking mortar fire. How you kept the team focused on the mission even when everything was falling apart. The kid got it. Honor, duty, mission first. Values that seem to be in short supply in corporate America these days. At 55, I'd learned that respect isn't given, it's earned, And sometimes when people forget that lesson, you have to remind them. You know, Alex continued, some of my friends think the military is old-fashioned. But watching you all these years, seeing how you handle problems, how you never give up on what's right, that's the kind of man I want to be. Those words hit deeper than any corporate promotion ever could. This was why I'd spent 2 decades building something meaningful, not for stock options or bonuses, but to provide for my family and set an example for my kids. At 6:15, there was a knock. Deliberate, professional. I checked the peephole, Rachel Foster and Jordan Beck, both looking like they'd aged 5 years and 5 hours. I opened the door slow, just wide enough to read their faces. Well, this is unexpected. Social call? Rachel's expression was tight, controlled. Classic Air Force. Keep your emotions in check. Focus on the problem. Zach, we need to talk. It's urgent, seems sudden. Last I checked, my position was eliminated as of 4:30 this afternoon. Jordan stepped forward, former Army Signal Corps, but he'd gone soft in corporate life. Look, there's been a serious misunderstanding. I laughed, couldn't help it. A misunderstanding? Which part? The public humiliation, the severance envelope, or Blake trying to replace me with a college kid making half my salary? Rachel winced. She knew. Of course she knew. As operations director, she'd probably seen the whole plan coming together. The budget projections, the personnel changes, the quiet meetings she wasn't invited to. Can we come in, please? This affects everyone. I considered it. In the Army, when someone comes to your position asking for help, you listen, even if they're not in your chain of command. But respect is a two-way street. They'd sat in that conference room and watched Blake humiliate me. Nobody spoke up. Nobody questioned the decision. Still, Rachel and Jordan were good people caught in a bad situation. They'd served their country with honor before joining Hartwell. They understood what it meant to keep critical systems running, to maintain operational security, to honor commitments made to those depending on you, shoes off. They shuffled in like junior officers reporting to a commanding officer. I gestured to the living room. Have a seat. Alex peeked around the corner from the kitchen. I caught his eye. Why don't you go upstairs, finish that physics homework? He nodded, understanding the tone. When Dad uses that voice, you follow orders. But I could see the curiosity in his eyes. He knew something important was happening. I sat across from them, hands clasped, waiting. In negotiations, first person to speak usually loses. Another thing the military teaches you. At 55, I'd learned patience is often your greatest weapon. Jordan cracked first. Look, the system, SecureLink, it's completely offline. Everything. Production, development, government portals. We can't even send status updates. It's a catastrophic failure. Full stack lockdown, I said, finishing for him. Every client offline. Stock price, probably in free fall. Pentagon probably getting phone calls. Am I tracking this correctly? Rachel leaned forward. Zach, I ran the numbers. We're looking at breach of contract with 90% of our government clients. Legal is saying 24 lawsuits minimum by morning. The board's in emergency session. Sounds rough, I said. Jordan rubbed his neck, nervous habit from his Army days. This could kill the company, destroy everything we've built. Thousands of jobs. Everything we've built, I tilted my head. Interesting choice of words, Jordan. Remind me who wrote the core SecureLink architecture. He swallowed hard. You did. And who designed the encryption protocols that handle 90% of our classified traffic? You? And who spent the last 6 months getting cut out of strategic decisions while Blake tried to replace me with someone who doesn't know the difference between a firewall and a spreadsheet? Rachel jumped in. Look, Zach, we know this was handled wrong. Blake was impulsive, but this can be fixed. You can fix it. I stood up, walked to the window. Through the glass, I could see Mrs. Martinez watering her garden next door. Retired teacher, lost her husband last year. Still waves every morning when I leave for work. This neighborhood, this life, it took 20 years of 12-hour days and missed family dinners to build. Can I asked, turning back to them. You have to, Jordan said, desperation creeping into his voice. The fail-safe protocol, I remember you mentioning it during security reviews. Something about unauthorized access triggering defensive measures. I smiled. You were paying attention after all. Yeah, it's a feature I built 6 years ago. Standard security protocol. When my credentials got revoked, the system assumed hostile takeover and protected itself. Rachel's military training kicked in. She was putting the pieces together, so you still have access. Of course I do. I built the back door the same year I put in the failsafe. Figured if someone ever tried to lock me out of my own system, I might need a way back in. I walked to my laptop, opened it, typed a few keys, the SecureLink dashboard loaded, all red alerts, critical failures, system integrity compromised. Jordan leaned forward, eyes wide, the whole network's down. Government data is isolated but intact. It's like the system is hibernating. That's exactly what it's doing, I said, turning the screen toward them, protecting itself until proper authority can be reestablished. Rachel met my eyes. And what constitutes proper authority? I closed the laptop. That depends. I walked back to the window. Through the reflection, I could see them both waiting. Two decent people caught in the middle of Blake's corporate stupidity. Rachel had served her country with honor before joining Hartwell. Jordan had done his time in Signal Corps, understood what it meant to keep critical systems running, but they'd also sat in that conference room and watched Blake humiliate me. Nobody spoke up. Nobody questioned the decision. Depends on what? Rachel pressed. I turned back to face them on whether this company is ready to acknowledge what it almost threw away and whether it's willing to pay the price to get it back. Jordan blinked. You're talking about terms. I'm talking about respect, I said. Something that seems to be in short supply around here lately. Rachel pulled out her phone. Blake needs to hear this. I shook my head. No. Blake needs to come here. He wants his system back. He can ask for it properly. On my turf, my terms. Zach, Jordan started. He will, I interrupted. Because right about now, his phone's ringing off the hook with very angry Pentagon officials asking very pointed questions about why their $200 million investment just went dark. Rachel was already dialing through the phone. I could hear it ringing and ringing. When Blake finally picked up, his voice was strained, desperate. Even from across the room, I could hear the panic. Rachel, thank God. Is he there? Can he fix it? Rachel looked at me. I nodded. He's here, she said. But Blake, you need to come over now and bring your checkbook. 20 minutes later, the sound of screeching tires echoed from my driveway. Through the window, I watched Blake's black BMW take the turn too fast, nearly clipping Mrs. Martinez's mailbox. The man was unraveling. Rachel and Jordan had spent the last 15 minutes fielding calls on their phones. The scope of the disaster was becoming clear. Hartwell's biggest client, Defense Logistics Command, was already threatening to pull their contract. The European division had gone dark completely. Someone from Defense News was asking questions about system reliability. The knock came fast and angry. 3 sharp bangs that rattled the front door. I let it sit. Military discipline. Control the tempo. Control the engagement. Another round of knocking, more desperate this time. I opened the door just wide enough to see Blake Morrison standing there looking like he'd been dragged through a corporate shredder. His usually perfect hair was disheveled, tie loosened, shirt wrinkled. The confident CEO who'd smirked while firing me 6 hours ago now looked like a man watching his empire crumble in real time. Fix it, he said, trying to push past me. Fix it now. I didn't move. Just stood there blocking the doorway. Evening, Blake, rough day at the office. His face went red. Don't play games with me, Zach. Turn the system back on. You seem upset, I said, stepping aside slowly. Come on in, let's talk about it. He stormed into my living room like he owned the place. Rachel and Jordan stood up from the couch, uncomfortable. They knew what was coming. Blake spun toward me, eyes wild. This is sabotage. Criminal destruction of property. I'll have the FBI here within the hour. Careful, I said, voice calm and measured. You're about to make accusations you can't take back, in front of witnesses. He stopped, jaw clenched, breathing heavy, but behind all that bluster, I could see it. Real fear. The kind that comes when you realize you're in over your head. Blake, I said, walking to my laptop, let me show you something. I opened the SecureLink dashboard and turned it toward him. The disaster lit up his face like a Christmas tree. Government contracts 94% offline. Security breaches 156 and climbing. Pentagon calls 31, emergency board meeting 7. This look familiar? I asked. His fists clenched. You did this. You sabotaged our system. Rachel stepped forward. Actually, Blake, the logs show you revoked Zach's credentials at 4:32 this afternoon. The system lockdown was an automatic response to unauthorized access attempts. Jordan nodded, pulling up his own laptop. Here's the audit trail. When Zach's admin privileges were terminated, the security protocol triggered a protective shutdown. It's all documented. Blake's face drained of color. What security protocol? I smiled. The one I implemented 6 years ago and briefed you on in the quarterly security reviews? The ones you never attended because you were too busy playing golf with Pentagon liaisons. What do you want? He asked quietly. I walked back to the window. Outside, I could see Mia's headlights pulling into the driveway. Robotics club was over. In a few minutes, she'd walk through that door, probably complaining about calculus homework or asking if I could help her with college prep. What I want, I said, turning back to face them, is acknowledgement, respect, and compensation for what you tried to steal. Blake looked up. How much? 25% ownership of SecureLink patents, $2.8 million in personal compensation for attempted IP theft, reinstatement as Senior Defense Systems Advisor with a permanent board seat, and a public statement acknowledging my role as the chief architect. His mouth fell open. That's insane. 25% of something is better than 100% of nothing, Rachel said quietly, which is what we'll have if the system stays down much longer. And the Pentagon contracts, I added. Their CTO called me directly an hour ago. Offered me a consulting position. Seems they'd rather have the guy who built the system than the company that fired him. Blake's hands were shaking now. 2.8 million. We don't have that kind of cash on hand, you'll find it. I said, liquidate some of your stock options. Take a loan against company assets. Get creative. You seemed pretty creative when you were trying to replace me with a college graduate making $72,000. Mia walked through the front door, backpack slung over her shoulder. Dad, I'm home. Oh, sorry. Didn't know you had company. Just finishing up some business, sweetheart. How was robotics club? Good. We're building an autonomous navigation system. Coach says I might make the state competition. She looked around at the tense faces. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, I said. Why don't you grab some dinner from the kitchen? Chinese food's still warm. She nodded and headed upstairs. But not before giving Blake a curious look. Smart kid, could sense the tension in the room. That's my daughter, I said after she was gone. 16 years old, honor roll student, wants to study aerospace engineering in college. Looks up to her dad because she thinks he's a man of integrity. I let that hang in the air for a moment. I'd like to keep it that way. I continued. Which means this gets resolved quietly, professionally, and fairly. No lawyers, no FBI, no media circus. Just a straightforward business transaction between adults. Blake was quiet for a long moment. Then, if I agree to this, you restore the system immediately, within the hour. Full functionality, all clients back online. No data loss, and no more surprises, no more hidden protocols. I shook my head. Clean slate, new partnership. But Blake, I leaned forward, if you ever try something like this again, if you ever attempt to undermine me or steal my work, the next shutdown won't be temporary. He swallowed hard. How do I know you'll keep your word? Rachel spoke up. Because unlike you, Zach has honor, military honor. When he gives his word, it means something. Blake looked around the room at Rachel's disappointed face, at Jordan's nervous expression, at the laptop screen showing his company in ruins. Fine, he said finally. Draft the agreement. I smiled. Already done. I pulled a contract from my desk drawer. Standard partnership agreement. 25% ownership, 2.8 million compensation, senior advisor reinstatement, board seat, public acknowledgement. All it needs is your signature. His hands trembled as he picked up the pen. For a moment, I thought he might throw it across the room, but he didn't. He signed slowly, deliberately, like a man signing his own surrender. When he finished, he shoved the papers back at me. It's done. I looked at the signature, then at him. No, Blake. Now we're partners, and partners don't try to steal from each other. The next morning, I didn't walk into Hartwell Dynamics as an employee. I walked in as a 25% owner with a permanent seat on the board of directors. The difference was immediately obvious. Conversations didn't stop when I entered rooms. People looked me in the eye. The junior developers who used to avoid me were suddenly very interested in discussing defense architecture. Word travels fast in corporate America, especially when the guy you thought was finished becomes your business partner overnight. 6 months later, Hartwell Dynamics posted record profits. SecureLink had expanded into 5 new government contracts. Alex got into the military academy with a partial scholarship. His essay about integrity and standing up to corporate pressure apparently impressed the admissions committee. Mia made the state robotics competition and decided she wants to study systems engineering and cybersecurity. Blake's still CEO, but he's different now. More collaborative, more respectful. Turns out being a partner forces you to think long-term instead of just quarterly targets. But the real victory came at the dinner table a month later. Sam's new diabetes treatment was working better than expected. Her energy was back, her smile brighter. Alex was home on leave from his first semester at the academy, wearing his cadet uniform with pride. "Dad," he said, cutting into his steak, "my roommate's father works for Lockheed. He said the whole defense industry heard about what happened at Hartwell. How you stood up to them. He called you a legend." Mia looked up from her tablet. "My engineering teacher said what you did was like David and Goliath, but with computer code instead of stones." Sam reached over and squeezed my hand. "I'm proud of you. Not for the money or the title, but for showing our kids that integrity matters more than convenience." I looked around at my family, my real victory. Alex, preparing to serve his country with the same values I'd tried to instill. Mia, dreaming of building systems that protect people. Sam, healthy and happy, the anchor that kept me grounded through it all. Some evenings I sit on my back porch with a beer, watching the sunset over the neighborhood Sam and I built our life in. The house is paid off. The kids' futures are secure. Sam's medications are covered. But mostly, I'm proud that my children learned something important. That competence matters, that integrity isn't negotiable, and that sometimes the right thing to do is also the smart thing to do. They tried to erase me from the company I built. Instead, they taught me exactly how much I was worth. And that lesson was worth every penny of those $2.8 million sitting in our family's future. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's proving they couldn't afford to lose you in the first place. They thought experience was expensive until they discovered what inexperience costs.